Ryan lived on a quiet and broken world. It used to be a colony, once full of people, homes, lights, and dreams. Now, it was nothing but dust, old machines, and silence. Most humans had left after the Great Collapse, and those who stayed were either too old or too tired to care. Ryan was just a repairman, not a hero, not a soldier, not important. Every morning, he would fix old solar panels, clean water filters, or search for parts in wrecked buildings. He had no friends, no family, no visitors. Sometimes he spoke to himself or whistled just to fill the silence. The locals who passed through never looked at him twice. To them, he was just a man with grease-stained hands and quiet eyes, a nobody. But Ryan didn't mind. Not really. He liked being alone. It was simple. Safe. Then one evening, everything changed. The sky was turning dark. Ryan was finishing a broken food unit when he heard a soft sound near his workshop door. Not loud, just a small, weak knock. At first, he thought it was the wind, but it came again. He opened the door slowly. A small alien girl stood there. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes big and golden like suns. Her clothes were torn and her leg was bleeding. She looked afraid, like she had run far. Ryan stared at her, surprised. She looked up at him, her lips trembling. "Please," she whispered, voice shaky. "Help." He didn't ask questions. He just stepped aside and let her in. Inside, he placed her on a table and gently cleaned her wound. She didn't speak much, just watched him with those glowing eyes. "What's your name?" he asked. The girl hesitated. Then she touched her chest and said, "Lyra." "Ryan," he said with a small smile. "You're safe here." She didn't understand every word, but she understood enough. She gave a small nod and held his hand. Over the next few days, Ryan took care of her. He gave her food, water, and a place to sleep. Slowly, she opened up. She pointed to the stars often, saying words in a strange language. Ryan didn't know what they meant, but he listened. She was smart, gentle, and curious. She liked touching the tools in his workshop, pressing buttons, and watching lights blink. Once, she smiled brightly when she fixed a small fan on her own. Ryan laughed. "You've got talent." She tilted her head, not understanding. But his kind tone made her giggle. One night as Ryan sat outside watching the sky, Lyra came beside him. She pointed to a bright cluster of stars and said something soft. "Mother," she whispered, "danger." Ryan looked at her. "Your mother's out there." Lyra nodded, her eyes full of sadness. He didn't know what kind of danger she meant, but he knew one thing: she was scared, and he couldn't let anything happen to her. The next morning, strange ships flew over the ruined city, sleek, black, and quiet. They didn't belong to any human group Ryan had seen before. 3 tall beings stepped out near the old market, wore armor, and held strange weapons. They showed a picture of a little girl to the locals. It was Lyra. Ryan watched from afar. His heart pounded. The men were bounty hunters, and they were looking for her. He ran back to his workshop. Lyra was already hiding under the table, as if she knew. "They're here for you," Ryan whispered. "We need to be careful." He built a false wall behind a shelf, just big enough for Lyra to hide in. He gave her a water bottle, some snacks, and told her not to make a sound. The bounty hunters came an hour later. "We're looking for a missing alien child," one said. "She's valuable property." Ryan frowned. "I haven't seen anyone." Searched the workshop, looked through his tools, even opened cabinets. But they didn't find the hidden space. After a long moment, they left. Ryan waited until night fell. Then he let Lyra out. She threw her arms around him and hugged him tight. "Thank you." Ryan had never felt that kind of warmth before. "I won't let them take you," he said. Days passed. The skies stayed quiet, but Ryan knew it wouldn't. Last, more would come. Stronger ones. Lyra's presence meant something important, but he didn't care about that. She wasn't a royal asset or a target. She was just a scared little girl who needed someone, and for the first time in his life, Ryan felt like he mattered. He wasn't just a nobody anymore. He was someone's protector, and that meant everything. Ryan watched the sky every morning now. Since the bounty hunters came, he never felt at peace. The air felt heavy. He knew they would return. Lyra's life was still in danger. She stayed quiet during the day, helping him clean or repair old tools. She no longer cried at night, but her eyes still held fear. When Ryan looked at her, he didn't see a valuable asset. He saw a child who trusted him with everything. One evening, Lyra sat near the small fire behind the workshop. Ryan gave her a warm drink made from roots and herbs. "Why are they after you?" Ryan asked gently. Lyra looked down. She touched her chest, then drew a circle in the air. Her fingers moved as if showing stars, a crown, and battle. Ryan didn't understand all of it, but he got the message. "You're important?" he guessed. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "Your mother?" he asked. She pointed to the stars. "She's strong, Queen." Ryan leaned back. "Your mom's a queen?" Lyra nodded again. "She'll come. She'll find me." Ryan smiled.
Ow.
"Then we'll wait for her, together." But they didn't get the chance to wait. That night, strange lights flickered above the hills. Ryan grabbed his old scope and climbed to the roof. A sleek ship hovered in the distance. Not like the bounty hunter ships. This one was large, clean, and shaped like a silver wing. It didn't land, it hovered quietly, scanning the ground. Lyra came beside him. Her eyes widened when she saw the ship. "That mother's ship," she whispered. Ryan stared. "Then why doesn't she land?" Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes filled with worry instead of joy. Suddenly Ryan understood. The ship wasn't sure if it was safe. They didn't know if Lyra was in danger or already taken. "They don't know she's alive," Ryan said softly. He had to do something. The next morning, Ryan started building something on the roof. He used old parts, metal panels, and even a broken screen from a delivery drone. Lyra watched, confused. "Signal," Ryan said, "for your mother." It took hours, but by nightfall, the device was ready. He used the screen to show a simple drawing Lyra's face and a red arrow pointing to the workshop. He connected it to a small transmitter, aimed it toward the ship's last location, and turned it on. 2 nights passed, nothing. On the 3rd night, Ryan heard a low hum. Then the sky lit up. A golden ship slowly descended just outside the ruined city. Ryan stood beside Lyra, holding her hand tightly. The ship landed with care. The hatch opened, and out stepped a tall alien woman with silver armor and deep golden eyes. She walked with power in every step. Guards followed her, but she held up a hand to stop them. Lyra gasped. "Mother." She ran to the woman, who dropped to her knees and caught her daughter in her arms. Voice shaking, Ryan watched silently. After a few minutes, the woman looked up. Her eyes met Ryan's. She stood, holding Lyra close. The guards pointed their weapons, but she lowered their arms with a single glance. "You kept her safe," she said slowly in English. Ryan nodded. "I tried my best." The Queen studied him. "Why?" "Because she's a child. She needed help. You knew nothing about her, yet you risked everything." Ryan looked down. "I'm no one important, but she needed someone." The Queen stepped closer. She was taller than Ryan, glowing softly in the nightlight. "I am Shara, Queen of the Asari Moons." "I'm Ryan. I fix broken things." Queen Shara tilted her head. "Yet you protected what matters most to me." Lyra looked up at them both, then smiled. She tugged Ryan's hand and placed it on her mother's hand. Shara raised a brow, but didn't pull away. "You're different human," she said. "Most would have traded her for riches." Ryan shrugged. "I don't want riches. Just peace." Shara's expression softened. "You may have earned something greater." The Queen stayed that night in the old city. Her guards set up camp nearby. Ryan sat by the fire as Lyra fell asleep in his arms. Shara came and sat across from him. "They'll come again," she said. "The bounty hunters were sent by traitors. They want Lyra as a tool to control me." Ryan nodded. "She said she was in danger." "I didn't know how bad. Worse than you think. If they find her again, they'll bring armies." Then We stopped them, Ryan said, without fear. Shara studied him again. You speak like a warrior. I'm not, Ryan said with a small smile. I just care. Shara looked into the fire. That's rare, even among my own. In the silence, something shifted. To live's one of a forgotten man. Another of a warrior queen had crossed paths through a scared little girl. Something new had begun. The next morning, the broken city looked different. For the first time in years, Ryan saw new life around him. Queen Shara's guards moved through the streets with calm discipline. They repaired old walls, scanned the area for threats, and helped restore damaged systems. They were warriors, but they worked with quiet respect. Ryan stayed near his workshop, unsure of his place. He wasn't used to being around others, especially not royal aliens in shining armor. Still, Lyra didn't leave his side. She followed him as he checked tools and cleaned solar panels, holding his hand like it was her anchor. Queen Shara watched them often from a distance. She didn't interrupt. Instead, she observed silently, thoughtfully. Later that day, Shara approached him again. Her voice was calm, but serious. Ryan, my people are preparing to leave. I've sent word to my capital. They know Lyra is alive, but danger still remains. The traitors will strike again. Ryan nodded slowly. So, you're taking her away? Shara hesitated. I want to. But she refuses to go without you. Ryan looked at Lyra, who smiled at him with full trust in her eyes. His heart felt heavy. I'm just a repairman, he said softly. I don't belong with queens and soldiers. Shara took a step closer. You protected my daughter with no armor, no army, no reward. You belong more than most of my council. Ryan didn't know what to say. It lived so long being forgotten that praise felt strange on his ears. Would you come with us? Shara asked. He stayed quiet for a long moment, then finally said, If Lyra needs me, I'll go. That night, they prepared to leave. Shara's ship was unlike anything Ryan had seen. Tall halls, glowing panels, and voices speaking in smooth musical tones. Still, Lyra held his hand tight, guiding him through with excitement. It was clear she was happy now, safe again. Many of the alien crew looked at Ryan with curiosity. Some even frowned, confused why a human had been allowed aboard. But no one questioned the queen. A large alien with wide shoulders came up to them. He looked like a commander, with deep red armor and a sharp gaze. My queen, he said, this human. His name is Ryan, Shara said calmly. And he is under my protection. The commander looked at Ryan and gave a small bow, though his face remained stiff. If he is yours, then we shall watch over him as well. They took off that night. Ryan watched the planet fade through the window. His old home became a dot of light in the black sky. Lyra leaned on his shoulder. Thank you, she whispered. He smiled, holding her close. Days passed on the ship. Ryan explored quietly, stayed out of the way, fixing small things when they broke. The alien tech was strange, but he learned fast. Soon some of the crew began to nod at him in respect. One day, a group of soldiers tested combat moves in a training room. Ryan stood near the edge, watching. Their moves were fast, like wind and fire mixed together. He was amazed by their grace and power. Suddenly one of them called out, You, human? Want to try? Ryan raised his hands. I don't fight, the soldier laughed. But you protected the royal daughter? How? I used traps. Not fists. The group chuckled, but it wasn't mean. One of them tossed him a small training stick. Show us your tricks then. Ryan shrugged and stepped forward. He didn't fight hard. Instead, he dodged, rolled, used the room's walls and rails to surprise his opponent. It wasn't beautiful, but it was clever. When he pinned the soldier using only a rope and a pipe, the room went silent. Then someone clapped. Queen Shara had been watching. You fight like a shadow, she said, stepping forward. Smart. Careful. Deadly in your own way. Ryan smiled shyly. I just do what works. The next day, she asked him to sit beside her in a royal meeting. The council was gathered on holoscreens. Alien leaders and officials spoke in many voices, some worried, some angry. We can't trust humans, one said. They're weak. What if this one is a spy? Asked another. Shara stood tall. Protected my daughter, not with power but with heart. While others betrayed me, this man gave without asking. He's a nobody, someone said coldly. Shara looked at Ryan, then back at them. Then perhaps we need more nobodies like him. The council fell quiet. After the meeting, Shara turned to Ryan. They don't understand you, not yet, but they will. Ryan looked at her, surprised. Why are you standing up for me? Because my daughter calls you father, she said simply. And I find comfort in your presence. That night, Ryan stood alone on the deck, looking at the stars. Shara joined him. You were never a nobody, she said. You were just hidden. Now the stars know your name. Ryan didn't answer. He just stood beside her in silence. Two lives from two worlds, now walking the same path. Days passed in space, but Ryan still felt like a guest among warriors. Queen Shara's ship moved through the stars with grace, avoiding known enemy paths. Even though they were careful, there was always a sense of danger. The traders who wanted to control Lyra still hunted them. The bounty hunters were only the beginning. Inside the ship, things were peaceful. Lyra laughed more, ran around the wide halls, and made every crew member smile, though some tried to hide it. Ryan spent most of his time fixing small systems, learning their tech, and staying near Shara and Lyra. But danger came faster than anyone expected. An alert rang through the ship one evening. Red lights flashed. Soldiers rushed to stations. Ryan grabbed Lyra and ran toward the command room where Queen Shara stood tall, her voice calm but sharp. Enemy ship approaching, her officer said, unmarked but powerful, heading straight. For us, Shara narrowed her eyes. Prepare defenses. Shield the rear section. Keep the child safe. Yes, my queen. Ryan looked at her. What can I do? Take Lyra to the secure chamber, she said. Don't leave her. Ryan nodded. He lifted Lyra in his arms and ran down the metal halls as the ship shook. Behind them, energy blasts lit up the outer walls. He entered the hidden room, a small, round chamber protected by thick shields and hidden panels. Lyra clung to him, scared. Don't be afraid, Ryan whispered. Your mom's strong. She'll protect us. Lyra buried her face in his chest. You too, the ship rumbled. Again, alarms kept ringing. Outside, alien weapons clashed with the ship's shields. Ryan could feel every hit through the floor. He waited, listening, heart pounding. Every second felt longer than the last. Then silence. A knock came at the door. It was soft but clear. Ryan stood up slowly. Who is it, Commander Viros? Said the voice the Queen sent me. Ryan felt unsure. Something about the voice was off. Too flat. To calm, he didn't open the door. Prove it, Ryan said. Say something only she'd know. There was a pause. No games, human. Give me the girl. Ryan's heart dropped. It was a trap. He looked around. There was a vent above, just big enough for Lyra. He knelt down. Lyra, climb up there, stay quiet. Don't come out until you hear me. What about you? She asked. I'll be fine. She hugged him tight, then crawled into the vent. Ryan shut it gently. Then he turned toward the door, grabbing a long tool rod. It wasn't a weapon, but it was all he had. A blast shook the wall. The door broke open. A tall alien with dark armor stepped inside, holding a sharp weapon. Where is she? The alien growled. Ryan didn't speak. Stepped forward and swung the rod hard. The alien dodged, but Ryan didn't stop. He kept moving, ducking, using every trick he knew. He hit the lights, kicked wires, used sparks to blind the attacker. He fought like a man with nothing to lose. Finally, he managed to trip the alien and knock him out with a metal pipe. Breathing hard, Ryan locked the broken door. Lyra, it's me, he called softly. She climbed down and ran into his arms outside. Things grew quiet again. A few minutes later, the real commander arrived, along with Queen Shara. Her eyes widened. When she saw the broken door and the unconscious traitor, You fought him? She asked. He wanted Lyra, Ryan said simply. Shara looked at the alien on the floor. This was one of my officers. Traitor. She looked at Ryan again. You protected her again. Always, Ryan said. Later, after things calmed down, Ryan sat alone in the garden room of the ship. Glowing plants filled the air with soft light. It was quiet. Queen Shara entered. She stood beside him. We owe you more than words, she said. Ryan looked at her. You don't owe me anything. She's like a daughter to me. Shara sat down beside him. And to me, you are becoming more than just a protector. Ryan turned, surprised. Shara smiled gently. In battle, I trust only my best warriors. But with Lyra, I trust only you. He said nothing. She placed her hand on his. You've changed something inside me. Something I thought was lost. Ryan's heart beat faster. I don't know what the future holds, she said. But if there is peace, I would like you to stay by my side. He looked into her eyes and saw no crown, no armor. Just a woman who cared deeply. He nodded. Then I'll stay. And in that quiet garden, under alien stars, a new bond began, stronger than metal, deeper than duty. After the attack, Queen Shara's ship moved to a hidden location near a quiet moon. The crew worked non-stop to repair the damage. Though the battle had ended, everyone knew more trouble was coming. The traitors would not stop. They had failed. But they would try again. Inside the ship, the mood had changed. Ryan was no longer treated like a visitor. The soldiers nodded at him with respect. Even the serious Commander Vero spoke to him with a softer tone. But Ryan didn't care much about titles. He still spent most of his time with Lyra. She had become his whole world. She laughed again. She played without fear. She slept without worry. To Ryan, that was the real victory. One evening, while Ryan was fixing a damaged power coil, Queen Shara approached. Her armor was off. She wore a simple robe, her hair down, her face calm. We need to talk, she said gently. Ryan wiped. His hands? Everything okay? Shara nodded. Yes. The council has called me back. They want to see Lyra. They also want to meet you. Me? Ryan asked, surprised. You are important now. They know you fought to protect the future queen. They know you stayed loyal. Ryan didn't know how to feel. He had lived as a nobody for years. Now he was being called to speak in front of alien leaders. I don't belong in a royal hall, he said. Shara smiled softly. Maybe not, but you belong with us. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He walked through the ship's quiet halls. He passed rooms filled with stars, maps, weapons, and books. Everything felt big, strange, and heavy with meaning. He stopped. By Lyra's room, she was asleep, hugging a soft blanket. He sat beside her and watched her peaceful face. You changed everything, he whispered. You gave me a reason. The next day, the ship left for the capital planet. It was a shining world full of towers, lights, and floating ships. The queen's arrival was expected, but many still whispered about the human who stood beside her. Ryan walked through the grand halls with Lyra on one side and Shara on the other. His clothes were simple, but clean. His heart beat fast. He saw aliens of all shapes and colors bow to the queen, then look at him with wonder or doubt. Inside the great hall, the council waited. 12 leaders stood around a glowing table. Their eyes were sharp, their voices polite but cold. You return with the child, said one. We are grateful. We also see the human who was not chosen by law or blood, said another. Yet here he stands. Queen Shara spoke clearly. This man saved my daughter's life. He refused reward, gave everything when others gave nothing. He is not one of us, said a tall councilwoman. Can he even be trusted? Ryan stepped forward. His voice was calm. I didn't protect Lyra because of duty. I did it because she needed someone. And what do you want in return? One of the leaders asked. Nothing, Ryan said. I already got what I didn't know I needed. The room fell silent. Queen Shara placed her hand on his shoulder. He has become part of our family, not by blood but by choice, and that is stronger. The council spoke in low voices for some time. Then the lead counselor said, We will not oppose your decision, but the people must know. Later that evening, a gathering was held in the royal square. Lights filled the sky, banners flew. It was the first time in history a human stood beside an alien queen. Shara raised her voice. This is Ryan, protector of the royal child, savior of the queen's blood. Today, we honor his courage and more. She looked at him and smiled. We also announce something greater. The crowd went quiet. He is no longer just a guest. He is my chosen one, and soon he will be my husband. Gasps filled the air. Cheers followed. Ryan stood frozen, heart racing. Shara turned toward him. Will you accept? Ryan looked at her, then at Lyra, who smiled wide. He stepped forward and said softly, I already have. From that moment, everything changed. Ryan was no longer a forgotten man from a broken world. He was now a father and a future king beside a warrior queen. The crowd cheered louder than Ryan had ever heard. The lights of the royal square sparkled in the alien night sky, but Ryan's eyes were only on Shara. She stood tall and proud beside him, her hand holding his tightly. Lyra stood between them, her smile bright and full of hope. In that moment, Ryan felt something he had never known before. He belonged. The ceremony was simple but full of meaning. The queen spoke to the people, telling them how a man from a forgotten world had saved her daughter and earned their trust. The council nodded in approval. Soldiers saluted, and aliens from many worlds whispered their surprise and respect. After the ceremony, Shara and Ryan walked together through the palace gardens. Flowers glowed softly under the stars. The air smelled fresh and new, like a promise. You never imagined this life, did you? Shara said with a small laugh. Ryan shook his head. No, I thought I was alone, a nobody. Now I have a family, a purpose. Shara smiled. You gave that to us? Not with power, but with heart. Ryan looked at her. You were the queen before. Now you're my partner. She took his hand and held it close. We will face many challenges, but together we are stronger. Days passed, and life changed quickly. The traitors who hunted Lyra were exposed by the queen's agents. Many were captured or fled. The galaxy began to see humans in a new light. Just as weak survivors, but as strong allies, Ryan learned more about alien politics, wars, and peace talks. He attended meetings with the council, speaking calmly but firmly. Sometimes he made mistakes, but Shara was always by his side, guiding him. Most of all, Ryan focused on Lyra. She grew taller, stronger, and wiser every day. She learned many things, languages, history, even fighting skills. But her favorite moments were still with Ryan. They built small machines together, explored hidden parts of the palace, and laughed like a true family. One afternoon, as Ryan and Lyra worked on a tiny robot, Shara entered the room. She watched them quietly, then sat beside them. You make her happy, she said softly. She makes me better, Ryan replied. Shara reached out and touched the robot's arm. And you have changed our world. The years that followed were not easy. Many enemies tried to challenge Shara's rule. Warships appeared near their borders. Rumors spread that humans might bring trouble. But Ryan stood firm, showing courage and wisdom. He was not a soldier, but a leader. Not a king by blood, but by heart. One evening, a great council gathered to discuss a new threat. A coalition of species wanted to invade Shara's empire. The queen sat at the head with Ryan beside her. This war could destroy us all. She said we need a plan. Ryan stood. Then we fight not just with weapons, but with unity. I propose an alliance between humans and your people. Together, we are unstoppable, the council murmured. Some were skeptical. Humans are untested, one said, but look at this man, Shara said proudly. He saved my daughter. He saved us all. Slowly, the leaders agreed. The war was hard, but the new alliance held strong. Human technology and alien strength combined. Many battles were won. Peace talks began. In the quiet after the war, Ryan sat with Shara and Lyra under the stars on their homeworld. Lyra rested her head on his shoulder. Dad, she whispered. Thank you. Ryan kissed her forehead. You saved me too. Shara smiled beside them. Our family is our greatest strength. Ryan looked at her. We've come far from the forgotten man and the runaway girl. We'll go even farther, Shara said. In that moment, Ryan knew he was no longer a nobody. He was a father, a husband, and a symbol of hope. Two worlds had come together because of one man's kindness and courage, and together they would face any challenge the galaxy sent.